Hello, I am checking to see if I am live. This is my first time using YouTube Live. Hopefully everybody can hear me. Anybody that's here, somebody type in a hi in the chat if you can hear me and see me without a problem, please. Nobody's here yet. Okay, that's fine. I will wait. Having a few sips of my tea here. Okay. Oh boy, that's not good. All right. 2 viewers are here. Awesome. That must mean me and somebody else. Perfect. Type in a hi if you can hear me and see me, please. I will type in a hi first. I see my hi. Anybody else? We will edit this part out before I post if I can. If not, that's fine. People know we are just starting the show. My moderator, are you present? Can you hear me? Is everything looking and sounding clear? All right. Well, at any rate, I'm going to get started. My name is Laura Beth Culbert. I have been a life coach since about 2009. I have actually been helping people and talking to people about narcissism and other issues like that since about 2006, which is around the time that my own abuse started happening. Actually, before that, if you count the marriage that I was in with a narcissist. At any rate, I'm going to be talking today not about narcissism, but about healthy relationships. In fact, the 10 steps towards having a healthy relationship. And without further ado, regardless of who is here and who is not, I will begin. And I will follow this up with a short Q&A time. So if you have any questions, that'll be the time to ask them. All right, what are the 10 steps to healthy relationships? The first one is to be a healthy person. What I'm going to do is I'm going to list these steps first, and then I will discuss them as we go. So the first one is to be a healthy person. The second one is to check character. The third one is to look at the person's family and friends that you want to hook up with in the relationship or the friendship. The fourth one is communication. How well do you say what you mean and mean what you say and get each other on all of that? Number 4, watch reactions. Watch how the person reacts to what you say and do. Number 5, healthy emotions. Make sure the emotions and the feelings and the reactions to those things are healthy and not out of balance. And we'll talk more on that when I elaborate. Number 5, addiction. What part does addiction play in the relationship? Number 6, authority. How does the person handle authority? And I just noticed that my notes seem to stop there. So for now, I think we will do the first few and we will continue in the next broadcast after we talk about, let's say, maybe 5 of these for today and the next 5 next week. All right, so let's talk about healthy relationships. First of all, number 1, be a healthy person. There is a Bible verse that says, it states, I guess you could say, love one another as you love yourself. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. One moment, please. I have a message coming up here that I need to tend to. It's trying to restart my computer. That would not be good in the middle of our show. So let me just get rid of this here for now. All right, perfect. Thank you for your patience there in that. All right, what's it mean to be a healthy person? First of all, know who you are. People have often said that sometimes they feel threatened by me because I'm just so sure of myself. I am very comfortable in my own skin. I'm very happy with who I am. Sometimes I entertain myself and make myself laugh. You have to know who you are before you can be somebody in a relationship with somebody else. And hopefully that person that you are trying to relate to also knows who they are. That's also a very important thing, because you can't be healthy as a couple or as a group if there are unhealthy parts of that couple or group. Have boundaries. That's one way you can be healthy. Make sure you know what your deal breakers are. If so and so says this repeatedly or acts this way, then the relationship is just not healthy and I'm gone or they're gone. Very important to know what your boundaries are and what your deal breakers are, and not to stay if you see things that are dangerous to you or just plain unhealthy. The next thing is sleep. You can have healthy relationships, but you need to get enough sleep so you are functioning with a clear capacity up here. You cannot relate to somebody on a healthy level if you can't think straight and if you're not in your full mindset. That requires sleep. They say 8 to 10 hours of sleep if you can get it. Even 6 is good. Less than that, you are pushing the envelope as far as having mental breakdowns, mental fogginess and unclearness in your thinking and your thought patterns. So you want to make sure you are sleeping enough hours. Eat healthy. That's another thing. Now, what do I mean by eating healthy? That's probably subjective depending on who you talk to. I'm very careful with gluten and wheat because to me, it clogs up my thinking processes and I can't function in the fullest capacity of who I am. I know that I try not to eat wheat before I work. I'm a cashier. So I can't think straight to organize the money and give people the right change if my brain is foggy. You can't think right about certain things going on in your relationship if your brain is foggy, or if you just aren't feeling good because you ate something that you had a reaction to. So healthy eating is important. Water, drinking water. I can't really say that I could ever belabor that point. Water is so, so healthy, and I've gotten away from drinking as much as I did. I really need to get back into it. Drinking water helps everything. Your whole body needs water. You are mostly water, or a good portion of your body is water. So it needs water for your blood to be smooth flowing, for your brain to be thinking straight, for your body to be stable. You need water. It's important. Water also carries oxygen with it, especially if it's healthy water, not like yucky, cruddy water, but really healthy water. Um, Okay, you need to move. You need to move. So exercising. And I don't mean you have to get on a treadmill or go to the gym or, be sweating buckets, but you need to move. You can't sit all day in front of a TV or a video game or even your computer and think that you're going to be healthy. Your body was made to move. You have joints that bend. That means knees and arms, so you can go like this as you walk. There's a reason for that. You need to make sure that your body is in motion and you're not sitting around doing nothing. So if you want to have a healthy relationship, maybe take a walk with your partner or your friend, or go play tennis or throw a frisbee. That's what my husband and I do. We play frisbee together. All right. Make sure, as I said, you have a clear head at all times. Make sure you're giving the other person the best of you, and be sure that you're getting the best of them back. That's important. All right. Character. Let's do number 2. Check character. What do I mean by that? A person's character is what makes them up. What are they? What type of actions do they show? What type of heart do they have? So the first thing is kindness. Are they good to people? Are they good to you? Do they say nice things, or are they mean? Are they cutting? Are they tactless? Or are they kind and careful in the way they talk to you? And are you that way to them as well? Peace is another thing. Most people don't want a lot of drama in their relationships unless they thrive on drama. Do you have peace in your relationship? The atmosphere around a relationship is very important. When you get with a person for a friendship or a dating relationship, do you feel at ease, or do you feel like, I better not say that because they're going to get really mad at me, or I better be careful how I say that because last time it caused a fight? That's not a healthy relationship. You need peace and rest in your relationship, something to help you feel at ease. No eggshells, no walking on eggshells, no feeling like you have to watch every word you say because you don't want them to get in an uproar. Um, you have to be able to feel free to speak about whatever you want and know that the other person can handle it. Nervousness. Do you always feel nervous and tense when you're in the relationship with that person? Do you always feel like you're being judged? Or, and by judged, I don't mean that they're calling you on something that you did wrong, because if you have a certain belief system, you are supposed to call people on what they do wrong. That's how they change and grow and improve their behaviors. I'm talking about somebody that constantly picks at you or pokes at you and notices, oh, well, you didn't say that right, you didn't do that right, and I don't like the way you are acting around that person, to the point where you're like, man, I can't do anything right around this person. And it's very draining to be in a relationship with them. You don't want that in a relationship. You want ease. Worrying about how they'll react to you. You don't want to constantly have to be doing that either. All right. Love and balance in relationships, very important. Not smother love, not, oh, I can't live without you. I can't breathe another moment if you're not right here with me. You can't go to the store because you might not come back. And what will I do? I can't exist without you. That's not healthy love or love and balance. I remember my daughter had dated a guy a while back. He definitely had borderline personality disorder tendencies, for sure, if he wasn't full-blown borderline. She could not literally come to the store with me without him, as they say, blowing up her phone. Where are you? When are you going to be back? Is everything okay? Who are you with? I mean, that's ridiculous. That is not a healthy relationship. Thankfully, she broke that off, and that was a good thing. All right, and that's what you need to do if you find yourself in these types of unhealthy relationships. All right, so not smothered love, not controlling love, not, okay, here's an example. I once dated a guy where, and I actually didn't date him. I actually went to meet him. We hadn't even dated yet. I met him at a park, and we sat and talked, and actually more, he talked at me about how he was the foreman at his job and he was in control and everybody did whatever he said, and he made that point to me that nobody dared disobey him. And so by the time that I was done talking with this gentleman, if you call him that, he says to me as I'm getting in my car, you seem like a really nice lady. I look forward to getting to know you better. Now, I don't have to tell you that you're not to speak to any other guys while you're associating with me. I was like, dude, I just met you. You're already setting these, you cannot talk to any other man with me when I barely even know who you are as a man. Needless to say, I did not stay with this man. Or maybe it is needed to say, I didn't. I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, I'm not getting back into a control freak situation. So he was history, pleasantly history. All right, next thing about character. Does your partner or your friend support you? The worst thing is when somebody needs you and you are there, like in the drop of a hat. You are there helping them move if they're moving from house to house. You're there to listen to them when they're hurting. But if you have something happen to you, they're not there. They're too busy. They don't have time for you. They don't want to deal with things that you're going through. That's not a healthy relationship. It's also not a fair relationship. Do they take you to the hospital when you're ill? You took them to the hospital when they got ill. Did they stay with you, or did they say, oh, well, I can't stay here because I got to work today, even though you left your job and took a day off to be with them? Do they comfort you? Are they there? Are they your companion and your helpmeet if you're married to them? Definitely. So it's got to be a mutual support situation. Do they take their responsibility? When they say or do something, are they willing to say, yeah, you're right, I did that and it didn't turn out well and I'm sorry? Can they do that? Or do they put it on you? Well, if you hadn't done that, then I wouldn't have made the decision I made and then we'd be fine. That's not a healthy relationship. They have to be willing to take their responsibility as needed. Do they guilt trip you? Well, if you loved me, you'd sleep with me. If you loved me, you would do what I told you to do. You don't really care about me, or you would do such and such. Guilt tripping, not good. Or something like, I always say that the narcissistic mothers do this one. After all I've done for you, you can't even come and visit me. Your sister does that. What's the matter with you? Guilt tripping, not a healthy relationship. No lashing out. I call them lashers. No physical or emotional violence or coldness. You need to feel safe in your relationship. You need to know that if you say something that the other person doesn't like, you're not going to have a fist come at your head or your face. You need to know that if you want to sit down and share something that's hurting you, the other person isn't going to call you names and say, oh, get over it. You're such a baby. One thing that I hate, and there's a couple people I know in my life that do this, is when I am angry at somebody because they mistreated me, and the other person sits there and tries to justify why they mistreated me. Well, maybe you were doing this. Maybe you said that. Maybe they're having a bad day. They're really a good person, blah, blah, blah. That's the last thing you need when you're hurting and angry about somebody. You want somebody to validate your anger and say, yeah, that sounds like a really tough situation. I can understand why you'd be angry. Not someone to say, well, maybe they had a point. I don't talk to people like that. Once they do that, I literally shut down, and I have shut down when somebody's done that to me. I don't want somebody to take the other person's side that mistreated me. That's just wrong. All right. No coldness, no silent treatments, no, you said something I didn't like, so I'm not speaking to you now for a week, or I'm not going to call you, or I'm going to ignore your phone calls. That's terrible. That causes people to be triggered, especially that have disorders and problems of processing things. You don't treat somebody like that. If there's something to be talked about, you talk about it, or take a time out and go back to it, but not, I'm just not going to deal with it. I'm just shutting down, not talking. All right. So, encouraging. You want somebody to say, hey, great job. You did really well there. I'm really proud of you. Everybody needs an attaboy. Everybody, or attagirl. Everybody does. That is one thing I don't like about my job. And I'm probably risking something telling you this, but I really feel a need to talk about it. Very rarely do people at my job get told, you're doing a great job. I'm really, impressed with how you handled that customer or whatever. But we are constantly told and called on things about, well, you did this wrong. You should have done that. Make sure you're bagging these groceries the right way. Make sure you're paying attention to your customer. It just makes you not want to be there because you're never told how well you're doing. And you just feel like, man, I better watch I don't do this wrong. I better be careful I don't say that wrong. Nobody wants to be in a relationship or a job, in my case, where you're not given occasional, recognition or praise of a good job done. And there's no harm in that. Some people say, well, that's just vain, wanting people to, praise you. No, it's not. Even the Bible says that a workman is worthy of his hire, and that we are supposed to wait for praise from other people and not of ourselves. So there's nothing wrong with saying that you want somebody to acknowledge you and say, you're doing great there. So that's important in relationships, for somebody to tell you, you're a good person and I like what you've done and you really blessed me and you make me happy, that kind of thing. Well, not that you can make another person happy, but you bring happiness into the relationship. Okay. Is the person you're with a covert abuser? Do they abuse you behind the scenes? So do they just make little digs at you in public and say, things like, well, yeah, she didn't really think when she said that, or she never is able to do that for me, or just underhanded little comments that you and they know what it is, but the people around aren't real sure, but it's kind of their subtle way of attacking you, but not outwardly punching you or kicking you or, harming you physically. Covert abuse, there's no room for that in a relationship whatsoever. Is it balanced? Now, what I mean by that is, do you have time for work and for play? Do you both take time to have fun with each other? Or are you so busy that you really don't have time for a relationship? I talked to somebody recently who was telling me that someone in their life that they were trying to have a friendship with just never had time for being a friend. She just always was too busy. Well, if you're not going to have time and you're not going to make time for your friends, don't start the friendship, you know? Um, It's perfectly okay not to have a whole bunch of friends. Have a couple intimate friends that you do things with and hang out with. To be honest with you, I don't think I have very many in-person friends anymore, if any, really, that I actually do anything with. Nobody has time. Nobody takes time. I had one so-called friend that I thought was my best friend years ago, would constantly say we were going to go to dinner, we were going to go to a picnic, she was going to take me out, we were just going to hang out, and it never happened. I just never heard from her. And I'd call her up and say, hey, what happened? I thought we were doing such and such. Oh, yeah, girl, I got busy. You know how it is. You know what? No, after a while, I stopped knowing how it is because I broke off the friendship. I got done being treated that way, being told we were going to do something, constantly disappointed, changing my whole schedule to hang out, and then nothing happened. So you don't need that. That's not a healthy relationship at all. Oh, but when this person wanted something from me, I was there. Yeah, you get done being used very quickly, hopefully, in relationships. Okay, positive. You want people to be positive and have a positive attitude towards you. People that are naysayers and negative Nellies all the time are not fun to be around at all. You don't want to be around people that constantly lament about their life, their health, their issues. Not that they can't tell you I'm having a bad day, I got a headache, whatever, but people that's all they do is lament and have misery in their life. That's no fun. That's not positive. It's just not a healthy relationship. Or people that complain all the time about everything, and no matter what you do, it's never good enough. No, thank you. People that keep promises. Don't make a promise and break it constantly. You're not trustworthy then, and relationships are built on trust. So, not a healthy relationship. Reactions. How do they react to things? Are they easygoing and easy to talk to? Are they willing to negotiate? Are they willing to compromise? Do they sit down and talk about what's bothering you or what's bothering them? Can you talk back and forth calmly? Or does it end up in a big blow up? No angry people. I can't stress this enough. Even the Bible says not to become friends quickly with an angry man. People that have anger issues that are impulsive and out of control can be very dangerous and very annoying. So you don't need that. Look for people that are kind of on an even keel. They can have a change in emotions, but not to the point where it's extreme and hazardous to your health. Adventurous. Do you know any people that just don't like doing anything? They just want to sit around all the time. What you want in a healthy relationship is people that want to do things and go places and learn things together and experience life. That's what it's about, experiencing life. Are they supportive of your changes? When your situation in life changes a certain way, are they supportive of that? Do they get upset when you have to change your plans? Even though you let them know, I can't do that today, something came up. And I'm not saying do that constantly because we already talked about how that's not healthy. But are they supportive of you? Are they going to say, you know what, I totally understand, it's cool, I'll take a rain check? Or are they going to get mad and say, you know what, screw you, forget you, I'm not going to focus on this relationship anymore because I can't trust you, and you always do this, even if you don't always do it? Do they share things? Now, this is kind of an interesting thought. Does the person you're with eat in front of you? It may seem like a minor thing, but I was taught by my mom that it's very rude to eat in front of people. Do they sit there and pull out their McDonald's lunch in front of you and sit there and eat it? That's rude and wrong. And no, I would not stay friends with somebody that did that constantly, especially if I'm hungry and they know I'm hungry and they just sit there and eat their French fries in front of you. And you're like, man, I would love a thing of French fries, And they have the money to do it. They just don't bother. They don't think of you. And you have to work on that sometimes, of thinking of the other person and realizing you're not just yourself in this little bubble. There's other people around you that also have needs. All right, it's 10:24, so that means I am wrapping this up pretty quickly. I might not even get through 5 of them, but that's okay. Number 3, time to look at this person's family and friends. How do they treat their family? Do they get along with their family? Do they do things with their family? Are they close? Do they have good, healthy relationships with their family? If they don't, chances are they're not going to be a healthy person to interact with for you. Do they interact well, or do they fight a lot? Do they have hurt feelings? Is there a lot of grudges in the family? Are there a lot of family secrets that are unhealthy secrets? Has your friend been abused and none of the family wants to talk about it? That's a very big red flag for a relationship. You do not want to be in the middle of that mess. Not saying you can't be a listening ear and a comfort to that person, but if you're dealing with somebody who is constantly being invalidated, ignored, and they're ignoring the elephant in the middle of the room in this family, that person is probably not very healthy. So be careful about that. Remember that people affected by toxic upbringings do not make good friends. It doesn't mean if your friend is in an abuse situation and it's affected them a little bit and they're working through things that you can't be friends with them. But don't ever become somebody's friend to the point where you're a scapegoat, where you start feeling like they've turned you into the abuse victim and you're taking the abuse. You need to know that your relationship is not going to be affected by their toxic upbringing that they have not dealt with, and that may still be going on even as adults. Oh, look at the person that you are relating to. Are there broken hearts left in their path? What are their other relationships like that they're out of now? If you can talk to some of their friends from the past, what were they like in friendships? I know that sounds weird, but honestly, with all the hurt and the dangers and things in life, you owe it to yourself to find out as much about the person that you are with as you possibly can. So, are there a lot of people angry with this person? Did they, as we say, screw them over? Did they do things to them that cost them money? Did they do things that hurt them to the point where they needed therapy? Those are not people that make good, healthy friendships. I wish I would have done more research on the people I hung out with back in, I think it was 2008, to know exactly what I was getting myself into and to hopefully extricate myself before I got into it. Um, when you listen to conversations surrounding this person, remember that people will talk. And if their friends start saying things about them like, yeah, he never was a real good friend. He never was there for me. You know, I remember that time he really did me dirty. They're telling on themselves, well, not themselves, they're telling on their friend. And you need to believe that. There's a saying, when people tell you all about themselves, believe them. Well, when their friends talk about them, believe them also. Because chances are, and I'm talking about if it's a majority type thing, not just a few people that, have grudges against the person. I'm talking about if everywhere you go, you hear bad stuff about this person, you might want to take a little bit of notice of that and guard your heart and not get fully involved with them. All right, we're on number 4, communication. We talked about this a little bit in the beginning. Communication, what is that? It means back and forth. You talk, I listen. I talk, you listen. It doesn't mean somebody that is all about me and all they want to talk about is them. And when you bring out something that's happening with you, oh yeah, well I did this too, and then it goes into this big diatribe about themselves. I know somebody personally who does this, and I'm trying to work with her to realize that as she gets older, because this is a young person, she needs to really realize there are other human beings around her that have thoughts and opinions and want to have something to say and want her to listen, and not just listen, but respond. Because this person, if you get on the phone with them, they will do nothing literally but talk about everything about themselves, everything in their world. And actually, I have told this person that, and they admit it. Yeah, I know I do that. And they laugh about it like it's funny. And it's very, very concerning to me because as they become an adult, it's going to be very difficult to have healthy relationships if all they do is talk, 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 and never listen and never let anybody else feel heard. That's very important in relationships. Lies. Are you with a liar? If you are, you might want to consider moving on, because if they lie to you, they will lie on you, as they say. Well, not on, but you know what I mean. They'll lie about you. They will lie to others about you. That's what I mean by lying on you. Can you trust them? Do they say Do they do what they say they will? Like we talked about earlier. Do they keep their word to you? If they say there's certain place, are they there, or are they just saying that to keep you off their trail, so to speak? Do you know if they say something that you can trust that that is definitely what's happening? Honesty is important in a relationship. Do you honor differences in each other? Everybody is different. Everybody does things differently, says things differently, perceives things differently. Can you talk to the person from your point of view and not be made to feel like you're wrong and you're stupid and no, you don't know what you're talking about? It's no fun being in a relationship that with somebody that always thinks they're the only ones that know something. They're the only ones that have an answer. You need to be able to have back and forth communication. All right, let's see here. I think this is number 5, and that'll be our last one to wrap up this session on the live show. And then what I'm going to do is open up the floor for some Q&A. Looks like there's nobody really here to Q&A with, but that's okay. You can always leave me comments on the video channel once I get this uploaded. So I'm going to continue with the very last part of this. Watch your reactions. Do you have the ability to work together on goals? You need to set some goals, some things you want to accomplish, or just things you want to do and be there together with each other while you're doing those things. Are they supportive of you in the sense that if you prosper, can they rejoice with you? Are they proud of you and happy for you? Or do they feel envious and resentful? And you hear about it regularly, like, yeah, you got to do that, but I really should have been able to. Or that's nice, I'm happy for you, but I wanted this thing and it didn't happen. That's not a healthy relationship or a healthy friend. Gift giving is mutual. If you are always the one doing the giving, you buy them things, you do things for them, you take them out to eat, but they never reciprocate, and they can. I mean, some people just can't. So you want the relationship with them, you do what you have to do. I get that. I'm talking about people who have the money, who have the time, who have the creativity that could make you things or give you gifts or take you out, and they just don't bother. Space. One more thing about the gift giving. Does it feel like there's a one-upmanship or a competition? You gave them this, so they got to do better and give you something even better or more expensive, or take you out to a more expensive restaurant. You always feel like you're kind of demoted because they're the ones that have the ability to do more, or even if you both have the ability to and they just purposely try to one-up you. It's no fun being in that relationship. Space, do they respect your alone time? And do they have alone time too? Are you able to be a whole person with them or on your own? Either way, you need to be a whole person when it's just yourself or when you're with a significant other. And do they respect that, or do they infringe on it and purposely call you when you say, look, I don't want you calling me. This is my time to whatever, watch my soap opera, knit my granddaughter's blanket, whatever it is you're doing. And they don't respect that. They're constantly, coming over, coming to work when you're working and trying to talk to you while you're working and getting you in trouble with your boss. Not a healthy relationship. All right, integration versus engulfment. That means, can they be part of your life but not have to be your life? Or do they drain the life out of you because they have to be there every waking moment? They have to get to know everybody in your family, all your relatives, and be buddy-buddy with them and feel like they are like your sibling or your kid. It can be very unhealthy. I'm not saying it always is, because if it's a mutual understanding and you welcome that, that's fine. But if they just seem to be kind of infiltrating into your life, if you've ever seen, what's it called? That one daytime, Lifetime Movie Network. There's a lot of engulfment on those types of movies where the babysitter all of a sudden is buddy-buddy with the husband and acts like a mother to the children. That's uncomfortable. Personally, I don't want another woman living with me and raising my kids or telling me how to run my household, etc. There is a reason for separation and space. And if you have somebody doing that to you, even a friend doing that to you, then it's not a healthy relationship. How do they treat children? Since we're talking a little bit about children, are they abusive towards their own children or towards yours? Are they very bossy, and do they take stands that they ought not to, and places they ought not to? If it's not their child, they don't belong to disciplining that child unless you have given them permission to correct your child. They shouldn't just take it upon themselves to boss your kid around. That's uncomfortable for the child and for you, and it's not their place. How do they treat the elderly? Are they abusive to older people? Are they resentful of older people? Or how about people in other cultures? Do they badmouth people because they're from other cultures? Do they get irate with somebody because they can't understand what they're saying? Do they, kind of treat them like a lower class of person? Obviously, not a healthy person to hang with. Do they mistreat animals? Do they see nothing wrong with harming, animals and treating them wrongly, or seeing them like, oh, well, I can do what I want. It's just a dumb cat or something like that. You don't want to be friends with somebody that's abusive towards animals. Can they wait without freaking out? If you're going to be late, you call them up and say, look, I'm working late at work. I'll be there as soon as I can. Do they literally just start blowing your eardrum off of, you told me you were going to be here. What is the matter with you? We talked about this, and just like screaming into the phone? Or when you get home, do they just like go off on you? I can't trust you anymore. You say you're going to do this and you don't do it. And just like a major blow up every time they have to wait for you for anything. Especially like if you're dating and you tell the person, hang on, I'll be right out. You're like in your house and they call you on the phone. I'll be right out. I'm putting my makeup on, whatever. And they like, it's always something with you, isn't it? I don't have all day, just that impatience and irritation with you because it takes you a little longer to get dressed or something. Not a healthy relationship. Do they put you in dangerous situations? Do they not regard your safety? Do you find yourself having to do things or be in certain areas, maybe of your neighborhood, that they know is not safe and is not safe, but they have some kind of a friend that lives in the area? It's probably not a savory, healthy friend either, and they expect you to wait in the car and risk your life while they go in and do whatever they do. Do they make you do things that feel dangerous to you? Like, one thing, people always try to get me on carnival rides. They don't realize that my equilibrium is off really bad. So for me to go on a roller coaster or something freaks me out beyond belief, because my body and my mind or my brain or whatever no longer can handle that turning around feeling, that sensation. So they think it's cute, oh, well, we're going to make you go on the ride with us. And then they guilt trip me and I go on and I end up finding out why I shouldn't have. That's not a good, healthy relationship at all, nor are they nice about it. Okay. Do they throw you under the bus to take blame for them when they do something wrong? Do they leave you to take the blame? That's not a healthy relationship. All right. So these are just some, I basically was talking about what wasn't a healthy relationship, but what I meant was the opposite of these things is what brings a healthy relationship. Being able to communicate, not being thrown under the bus, not being put in danger, not having somebody be impatient with you, having a mutual giving, mutual working together on goals, doing mutual things together, enjoying each other's time. That's healthy relationships. So everything I just said where I said that's not, do the opposite and it will be a healthy relationship. Observe, don't absorb. Make sure you're watching who you're with and what's happening and how they're reacting and how they're relating and what they're saying. That's how you do it. All right, I am going to say one more hello and open for comments and questions. So if you have any, I will wait a few minutes here. Come on, and I will answer what I can. And then next week, we will continue with 5 through 10 of the 10 steps. So while I'm waiting for any comments or questions, I'm going to just recap basically what we talked about. Be a healthy person was number 1. Check character is number 2. Observe their family and friend relationships, 3. Number 4 was about communication. And number 5 was watch their reactions. All right, next week, I will talk about healthy emotions and addictions. I may just make it into a video instead of a show, instead of broadcasting live, since my videos seem to be appealing to people. And so that's all I have for today. Anybody have anything to say? I see there's a couple of us here. Okay. On that note, I will end the broadcast. I will say this. I do need to know, if you really do want me to stay live, what time you will be able to be here to view me live. I originally fought this whole idea of going live because people had said, you know, I want you to go live. I need you to go live. I would like to be able to interact with you live. It would be great because, you know, we don't want to just do paid sessions because some of us can't afford it. So I thought, okay, I'll try the live thing. I've tried it, I think, 4 or 5 times now. And it seems like videoing is something that's more helpful to you. And I'm all about helping people and doing what works for you. So if there is a certain time that I should go live that works with everybody, I'd really like to know. Leave me some comments. Or if you prefer just sticking with the videos and then having paid sessions with me, that's fine as well. Anyway, I just need to know. I need some feedback from you, so let me know. You guys have a great day today. And remember to watch and see, you know, what those warning signs are and the red flags of your relationships. And as always, eyes wide open, moving forward. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.